Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kailash with Mohanji Chronicles. This is a new series we're starting because of the nature of Kailash pilgrimage. Many people cannot reach that place because of many difficulties they face. So, Kailash comes alive for us as an enigma through our stories of the pilgrims who have joined us in the past. For those of you who don't know, Kailash is about 2.5 days of walking around a mountain. It's 52 kilometers, and many people take this trek either by walking or by pony. So, on that note, let's start with our first episode with Ivana and I. I'll introduce myself. I'm Bhavani. I've been with Monji from 2016, and I've been to Kailash 4 times with him. Well, 2 times physically, 2 times without his physical presence. And I have with me Ivana Mrdak from Serbia. She's been with him since 2017, and she joined us in the pilgrimage in the year of 2023. For those of you who don't know, she has written a blog recently about her transformation that she faced after she went to Kailash. It is not posted yet. It should be coming out. Please check that out on our Facebook page. But we'll touch a few pieces from that today. I will ask Ivana to talk a little bit about what I remember what she wrote is she was this calling came very strongly to her. Before there was no calling to go to Kailash, but it just happened. Or some point in the journey, Kailash called her, and that's what Kailash does. It calls you, and you feel it in your heart, and that's what happened to her. Can you speak about what triggered this movement, this uh, determination that you had to go to Kailash, Ivana? And you can also share a little bit about yourself if I missed anything.
Of course. Hello. So, I was with Mohanji since 2017, and I never felt a pull to go to Kailash, or I didn't also feel connection to Shiva. I heard about Shiva, but I didn't understand that energy or
Right.
feel. So, beginning of 2023, I was in India for a few months, and I visited many sacred places, including Arunachala. And for those who don't know, Arunachala is called Kailash of the South because it's in the south of India, and it has a very, very strong Shiva energy there. So that's when I, for the first time, started to get that connection with Shiva and to feel the energy of Shiva. And after that, I heard that that year maybe there will be another Kailash pilgrimage after a few years of break due to COVID. And
Right.
I was thinking it would be maybe interesting to go, but I didn't consider it very seriously. And then when the yeah, but when the announcement came out a few months later, I was so excited, and I felt like, oh, I want to go, I want to go. But
Right.
in a few moments after that, I started crying, and I felt something that I can't really describe in words because I don't think we have words for those kind of feelings, let's
Mm.
say. And that was this strong a message from, I would say, the soul itself, if it ever speaks to us. That was the time. And it said that I was waiting for this for lifetimes and I can't miss this opportunity. I need to go. And I was so happy that that moment came. Um, and yeah, I just made a mental note to myself at that moment that I am not going to miss
Going to
this. And even though there is few more months to go until the Kailash pilgrimage will take place, to remember this and to discard all the uh, other potential distractions or thoughts that would try to make me not want to go, and to remember this. And that's how it was. Yeah, so
So, so in those moments when you had the feeling of this calling from the soul, it revived you, it made you feel like you have to do this. The determination that came over you was what I felt from you since I've been with you on the pilgrimage. I saw that determination that was I've seen many participants who join this pilgrimage, but with you, this determination was very vivid from the beginning, but it got more stronger as I saw throughout the journey. And can you talk about that determination? Like, if you had any doubts that came up, because many people, when they apply for this program, they're very determined, but somehow some things leads them to doubt their decision. It could be financial, it could be physical, it could be emotional, it could be a lot of things. And they get somehow what happens is they also look at a lot of their friends, their who are they going with, and they get influenced. Did that ever happen to you, or did you just? I knew you stayed within yourself, but can you share more about that journey, because you did this whole parikrama on foot? So also touch bases on that, because that was very important for you, I remember, and I could never comprehend why you did that, but you can share that with the viewers. It'll be interesting to hear.
Of course, you asked me now a few questions, and a
Yeah,
few
you
thoughts
have.
came to my mind how to reply. So, let's see. Well, first of all, my determination didn't only come from that inside message that I felt. It
Okay.
also came from the situation I was in for a while, for actually a very long time. And that was that inner unease that I had, to say the least. I was in some very negative emotions and states, and there were some energies also that were surrounding me from a long time ago that I couldn't get rid of. And no matter what I was doing, and how long I was in spiritual path, I couldn't resolve that fully. It was
Mm,
getting better, but not fully resolved. And I realized that Kailash trip can help me finally get rid of all of that, if I did it right. And
mm,
right is of course different from for everybody, but for me, as the Kailash pilgrimage was approaching, I started to realize and get more of those kind of inside instructions of what I needed to do there, what was the right way to do it for me. And one of those things was that I had to prove myself. I had to prove my faith. I had to prove
mm,
my determination. And one of the ways to do it was to walk the whole way and not to take horse, not even as a backup.
mm.
Um, and I remember at some point, you approached me and you were making notes of who's taking horse and all that. And I said, I'm not taking it. That was just the day before we started
I
the
was nervous when you
Vikrama.
said that.
You
I
were
was
so
nervous.
nervous.
Yeah.
And you were actually not the only one. Later, my Sherpa was also very, very nervous for me, but I'll get to that. But I know that at that moment, I felt like, okay, should I maybe take a horse? Because you were there already, you're experienced, and I like, maybe should I trust you? What if I get stuck there? I think you
Mm,
already gave me those reasons. What if you get stuck there,
mm,
sorry, and you can't walk anymore, and so all that fear was coming to me, and I
mm.
started doubting myself. But then I was like, no, 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 you know what you have to do. Just trust yourself and do it. And that's how it was, and I'm very grateful for listening to myself at that moment, um, because it really paid off at the end. Another instruction that I felt was that, well, not instruction, but a feeling is that whatever I was going there for, I had some kind of vague feeling, but not
Mm.
exactly what's going to happen. But I knew it's going to happen during the parikrama, during the walk, at some point. And that I have to finish the whole circle,
Mm.
for that to happen. So I know that for many people, just the mere sight of Kailash is enough,
It's enough.
and Mohanji even said so. But for me, I knew it wouldn't be enough, that I needed to do the whole parikrama. So, in line with, because of that, when we started the journey, we were still in Kathmandu, and before we actually embarked on to go to Kailash. Um, I remember Sherpas giving us all these instructions, what to do, what not to do, and how people get sick if they don't listen to them, and things like that, get in trouble, and so on. And those are all very good um, uh,
Advice.
advice, yeah. But it really got me scared. And I wasn't
Mm,
scared before I came. I knew I was going to do everything in my power, and what happens, happens. But then I started to get scared uh, to that level that I started feeling physically unwell. And I didn't realize for a few days that it was out of fear. And it was psychosomatic. Um, but then, as we were supposed to go to higher altitudes, getting closer to Kailash, I sat down, I did a contemplation with myself, and then I realized it was my fear that maybe Shiva wouldn't allow me to
mm,
do the parikrama. And
wow.
if Shiva doesn't allow me, then it's end of story, all
Ah,
my determination, nothing, will help.
mm,
And that's what actually scared me because I really needed that. Whatever is going to happen, I knew something big would happen. I needed that
mm,
so desperately, and I couldn't wait anymore, and
mm,
especially not anymore lifetimes. So then I really prayed to Shiva to let me do the whole parikrama and to help me actually achieve that change.
mm.
Um, and then, yeah, after that, I didn't have actual fear
And
like that. Of course, during the parikrama itself, you're hypoxic, all sorts of things are coming up, but it was easier to deal with to,
mm,
than, yeah, so,
you displayed that actually. You displayed that throughout the trip. You were strong. You did listen to yourself. You were always within yourself, and it's a good quality to have on this pilgrimage. Good to go with people, but it's an individual journey, and you displayed that really well throughout the whole pilgrimage. So
yeah.
you, yeah. So go.
I mean,
Sorry, go
I
on.
just wanted to say that yes, when you said you're going there for yourself, and that's true, you're going there for yourself, and of course your ancestors, lineage. But I don't. I saw many people who I don't know if they understand that, because if somebody who they came with backs up,
Right.
backs wants to return or something like that, they return together, and that's very sad. Some people even wanted to go to Kailash, but the friend didn't want at the end, and they were supposed to go together, and then they
Back
both
out.
back out. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's so sad because that's a chance once in lifetimes, and you don't want to miss it because of somebody else. It's your journey, and I think people need to have that very clear when about Kailash.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm.
Monji says this is a ultimate pilgrimage of a human incarnation, and if it is an ultimate pilgrimage of a human incarnation, it will require that much determination and conviction to make it. So your story so far really inspired me because you displayed that you came with strong intention, you surrendered when it was needed, and you also acknowledged you faced many of those inner fears, but you spoke to Shiva in your own way, and you accepted your fears were real, and you didn't let it deter you from going further. So, to me, these are very good qualities to make the journey fulfilled for whatever
Mm.
intention you came for. Many people don't know actually why they go there for. It's just a feeling that they get, or it's just a desire that they have. But for you, it was more like you had these difficulties that you were facing for many years, and it was not leaving you, and that strong pull from within took you to Kailash, because Kailash is a region where Mohanji says that it's not part of the earth. It has its own frequency. It exists on earth, but it's not of the earth. So going there actually changed you from within, and
Mhm.
gave you that new birth that Mohanji speaks about, that nobody leaves Kailash empty handed, and Kailash knows what to give you. So you got what you wanted without you knowing that. But you were pulled to that place without you knowing that. Isn't that amazing? So on
Yeah,
that, yeah, yeah, go on,
yeah.
please.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think we know about more about your journey that transpired this transformation, because I know you said you had some insights that came to you it's a feeling that came to you that you had to do this thing a certain way, and how you went through that. Can you just take us to that and to transformation that happened
Hmm.
thereafter?
Yeah, of course. So the most challenging part of the parikrama was the second day, beginning of the second day, when we were climbing towards Dolma La Pass. That's the highest point of the parikrama, and it was the most challenging because it's 5 kilometers of very um, uphill, going uphill, and for me it took 4.5 hours, and I was so unwell from the first step I made that morning. And after those 5 kilometers, when you reach that Dolma La Pass, the highest peak, you have 17 more kilometers to go that day.
Mm,
So it's the most challenging part. Um, but for me, I knew that even though every step I made was so difficult from the beginning, and I was just concentrating on making the next step, I was trying not to think about what I'm going to do after, uh,
mm.
after that. Um, so I remember I had in my head, you need to reach Dolma La Pass, you need to reach Dolma La Pass. And I didn't understand why at that moment, but because there's 17 more kilometers to go, right? But
Mm.
for me, Dolma La Pass was something I needed to reach for whatever reason. And then after that, Shiva and Mohanji can do whatever they want with me. I just need to reach it. So that's actually soon after I realized why, because when I reached Dolma La Pass, actually that change that I was waiting for happened. That was the point, and I felt it within few steps when I crossed
Wow.
Dolma La Pass.
Wow.
And I know that's not typical. Usually people, take some time to feel the change after Kailash, but for me it was instant at that line. And what happened is that I I felt like, because before I didn't feel like I belonged to the light. I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like I was on some kind of probation, or
Uh-huh.
renting my space in the
Mm,
land of light until I'm kicked out
mm.
because I don't belong there.
Ah,
And of course, on top of all those negative emotions and heavy energies and so on. And when I reached Dolma Pass and crossed it, I understood I crossed the border into the light, and
wow.
I finally felt like I belonged there. And I wasn't roaming around some no man's land.
Mm.
I didn't even know I felt that I was in no
Felt
man's
this
land
way.
before.
Right. You didn't know you were there, but it was just a
Yeah, I
feeling.
knew I was
Yeah.
there. I knew I
Yeah.
didn't feel comfortable in light, but I didn't
Right.
understand why. And
Yeah.
when that happened, just everything clarified,
Shift. Yeah.
clarified, and
Clarity
everything
came.
shifted. Everything
Yeah.
shifted, and I understood what happened. And
Ah.
so, and now 2 years later, I that's still the case. It never changed. I Ever since I crossed Dolma La Pass, I felt like I belong to the light, and that I'm home. And that was the one of the biggest blessings, if not the biggest blessing of my life.
And your Sherpa played a big role in this as well. I remember you telling us about this. Your Sherpa.
Oh yes, Sherpa, right.
Yeah.
Well, Sherpa, that was when I was climbing Dolma La Pass. Sherpa was
Yeah.
also he was carrying my bag,
Uh-huh.
and he was with me all the time, and he was so nice. Usually I know that Shiva tends to challenge people by giving them some bag carriers who is going to just run away with their bag and wonder, you can't find him and so on. But mine was so great, and he was there for 40 or 50 times already, um, doing the Kailash Parikrama as a Sherpa, and he was so worried about me during the climb towards Dolmala, because he thought I'm going to crack, that I'm not going to be able to continue walking because I looked so unwell. Everybody else was just passing next to me. There was a grandma that was literally with a stick walking, and she was faster than me. I mean, she was local, obviously, but still, she was faster than me, and I think she was like 90, or at least she looked like that. So, and then I saw in his face, he's starting to panic for me, what to do with me. And he was trying to find, like, if he is going to find me a horse or something. And then I, being unwell already, obviously,
Right,
I
right.
told him that I'm fine and I'm not going to give up and that I'm going to finish this walking. So, like, just calm down. So I was calming down him, not the other way around.
But you
But
you also mentioned about how you were flying in the air. Your feet were not your feet. It was
yes,
Monji's feet.
that's after I actually crossed
Ah,
Dolma La Pass.
mhm.
I completely recovered and I was flying. So my Sherpa, who was trying to get me help just a few steps before that, was running after me now. Because, like, I can't explain because it's not logical at all. You don't sleep for I don't know how many nights. You're already exhausted from the previous day. It's so, but suddenly you get some strength. You don't know where you found it. Um, and it's just Mohanji's and Shiva's blessings. And I know that at the end of that day, those 22 kilometers long walk, that day, I was just so tired. Like, I didn't have any more motivation to continue. Like, I already done my part. I got everything. I'm,
Ah,
like, and now I need to get to the hotel, and I was already very tired. And I asked my
mm,
Sherpa, how long do we have to walk? And he said, well, like 40 more minutes, 40 more minutes. And there is like one hill, so it's uphill, and then there will be, hotel, but 40 minutes. And I was like, I can't. I just thought to myself, and I told Mohanji, like, I can't. Please, 10 more minutes is the most I can walk, and no uphill. I'm not able to climb again. And I remember just started walking, looking at my feet, and I wasn't walking. It was just carrying me. Something was carrying me. And uh, we walked for 10 minutes. Soon I saw there was a hotel that is downhill, and we reached the hotel in 10 minutes without climbing anything, just going downhill. And I was like, thank you, Mohanji. Thank you. I so needed this
you
because
reached hotel or you reached the coffee shop? I'm
no,
confused about.
the hotel at the end. That was at the end. At the end of
That is a
second day.
miracle. That is a miracle.
Yeah.
That is to me at the after the hill is a coffee shop, not a hotel. So when you're telling me it's a hotel, that is a miracle.
No, I don't know. He said there is another hill that we need to
Ah,
climb.
no.
There was no
You.
hill to climb. We
Uh,
were going down, and he was there already for almost 50 times. So he knows
uh-huh.
that. So
Amazing.
I
That's a
wasn't
miracle.
walking. It wasn't 40 minutes walk. It was 10 minutes down the hill. There was hotel, and that was the end of it.
Amazing. Amazing. And
So
that is, I must have misheard you before, but this is very unusual for me to hear what you just said. This is
yeah,
definitely a miracle of Kailash because, Mohanji says that Kailash is what you want it to be. When you think that it's a long stretch of endless walking, it becomes an endless walking. But if you think it's only 10 minutes, it becomes only 10 minutes. So what you shared with us right now is proof of that. That he said 10 minutes, you said you can't walk anymore. It better be 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes, not
yeah, well,
more.
that kind of thinking didn't help me when I was climbing Dolma La Pass. Actually, the reverse happened. I
Uh,
thought I knew where was the top. I thought that I saw it, and I was just looking at it for a long time. I was like, okay, that's where I need to reach. And then
mm,
another Sherpa came and told me, oh no, that's not the end. You have 40 minutes after that more. And I was like, I can't believe. So when I was actually trying to reach Dolma Pass, I was tested even more because
mm.
the journey was kind of prolonged, but it was just a
Because
test.
you were making it. You it was happening because of some test you had to go through. That's all.
Yes, I
Oh,
think so. And I heard later that actually, when we were coming back from Kailash, I heard that people are actually tested until they reach Dolma La Pass.
mhm.
Um, because after that, you can't go back. You can just finish the whole parikrama going forward. But many people actually, before Dolma La Pass, they get scared and they go back. And they have the most tests. Until that point, and then they're rewarded. That's what happened to me, but I didn't know that's what usually happens to people. It's just what I
The
felt
reward happened instantly.
instantly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember sharing your story with somebody that you were so transformed from this whole, from the beginning of Kathmandu till you crossed the Dolma La Pass. Your
Hmm.
transformation was the most evident in out of all the participants that were there. And now that you share your story, now it's more clear to me why it was granted to you. So because you went through that difficulty, that conviction and that surrender, it's amazing. Um, I wanted to ask you one last thing, and
Hmm.
you you took this trip with Mohanji after COVID, and he was not traveling at that time. How did that impact your thought process in this decision making?
Yes, that was actually something that almost got me to back up, back off from the trip, and that was actually one thing that made me doubt if I want to go, because I actually imagined going to Kailash with Mohanji in his
Mm,
physical presence, and then a few days later, after that soul message happened, I read the whole program, and I realized
mm.
that Mohanty is not going, and I was so sad. And I wanted, like, that's not what I imagined. I'm just going to, wait for some next year when he goes. But then I remembered what I told to myself, what I that I needed to go, and I overcome that disappointment.
No time
And
to waste.
sorry.
No time to waste.
Yeah, no, I felt like I really needed to go despite of that, and and I did, and I realized that actually, he was there with me every second, every moment, and that walking by not by myself, that I just told you about, it was His grace and it was His presence, Him watching over us every moment. But then I also realized that if He was there with us physically, I know myself, I would just go chasing after Him, and looking where He is, and you know but now I didn't have that option, and that's why I was concentrating more on myself, on my connection with him and his consciousness, with connection with Shiva. There was no distraction of his physical presence.
Mm.
um, I don't know, you were with him in his physical presence and without it, so I don't know if you felt that my if that's true what I just said, how you felt.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I've experienced the same. In 2016 and 17, he was physically with us, but actually, he's not really physically with us. He has his own agenda, he does his own things. But us as pilgrims, we want to be around him and we forget the reason why we are there in Kailash pilgrimage to begin with. But in 2023 and 2024, he was not there physically. And that allowed myself to connect more to myself versus relying on that physical presence always being there. Oh, let me go see what he's doing. Let me see where he is. It was more on just being with myself, like Ivana said. And
Hmm.
I felt his I'm sorry, his consciousness being present amongst the group so powerfully because all of us with 2023 and 2024, we kind of enjoyed the whole pilgrimage on a deeper level because his presence was so strongly felt. So
Hmm.
it's something we must
Yeah.
look at. Yeah, it is with Mohanji in consciousness, not his physical presence. And that's very
Yeah.
important to remember. Thank you, Ivana, for sharing that. I think many
Yeah.
people don't take this pilgrimage because of that uh, this idea that he's not physically coming. So thank you for
And
bringing.
that would be a big mistake from my experience. Very big mistake. And
Yeah.
also, I he spent 5 days with us, 5, 6 days in Kathmandu, and it
Mm.
was like a private gathering with him. There was 27 of us, I think, that year,
Yes. Yeah.
and him, 5 days in a hotel. It was satsangs were like very private.
Yeah.
We would have dinner, lunch, breakfast with him.
Yeah.
It really, we got that physical presence as well.
Yeah.
a lot of it in that
Yeah.
journey. Something I would miss if I
Yeah,
didn't.
he empowered us all before we left, I felt. He
Yeah,
empowered each one of us because he was not physically coming. But
yeah.
on that note, I wanted to ask you, after coming back, your life has been different. The frequency of your life, your everything has changed about you. How is that reflected in your life today? It's been 2.5 years now.
Yeah, well, on top of what I just told you, about stepping into light and feeling finally comfortable in
Mm,
um, in all these spiritual surroundings and in light, I have to say that after I came back, I didn't walk on clouds like many people describe. I fell again, very kind of hard, but
mhm,
it didn't last long. It was just some residues of those past feelings that were passing and
mm,
coming out.
mm,
And in few months, I was completely free from all of that.
mm,
And my life really changed. Um, Many people actually were started to treat me differently because I don't know, I radiated differently because I didn't change my behavior or anything towards them. They just started being nice to me, and they were never nice to me, for example.
mm.
Also, I was already volunteering in many platforms, trying to do some good for the world, and nothing would ever be fruitful. Everything would just fall apart, no matter how determined I was, no matter how hard I tried, nothing would succeed.
Mm,
And now, when I came from Kailash, in the matter of weeks, things changed, and the projects I was doing, many initiatives I was doing, started to flourish for the first
mm.
time in my life.
Wow.
And I then felt even more that I'm part of light because I'm actually now even
Wow.
doing something.
Amazing.
So and that continued. That continued. So a lot of changes, and of
Big
course, it
motivation.
supported my further spiritual growth, and it gave me confidence because I did that. I managed to get rid of. First of all, I managed to do a difficult journey like that. And I was determined, so it gave me that self-esteem, but it also gave me confidence that I can change anything that I want
Yeah.
to change in my life because
Wow.
I managed to get rid of some of those very difficult things that were part of me for so long. And
Mm,
usually people lose hope. They think that, oh, those things will forever be with you. And once you
mm,
get rid of things like that for the first time, then everything else you want to change in the future, you have that memory that you already changed something very big. So it's easier to
mm.
change the rest and to advance. So
You took life in your own hands. You didn't leave it up to somebody else to come and change it for you. That's the most important thing what I heard from your message right now. You knew that it had to change and you took the effort to change, and then that change gave you confidence, and then now it's boosting you each time because the memory is there and makes you a better
mm,
person each time and stabilizes you, from what I understand. And
well, yes, but also I have to say that when I felt that many times in life, not just Kailash, but of course Kailash, one of the most where I felt it most strongly, is that when you really give everything you have to change something and you never want to give up, then Shiva, Mohanji, and the masters
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
of the tradition, they really come in to support you and give
yeah,
you everything, even though
yeah,
you feel like you don't stand a chance against
right,
something. Uh,
right,
as long as you give everything you have,
yeah,
you will get. They will do everything else.
yeah, absolutely.
So of course, I wouldn't be able to do any of this um, myself, but I think that I've done everything I could, and it was enough because then their grace happened to do the
Absolutely.
rest.
Absolutely. It was you all along. They just gave you that support. Your
Well,
determination was,
just it's not
yes,
just. It's a
yeah,
lot of support.
it's a lot, yeah, a lot of support. Anyways, I wanted to close this session on this quote that Ivana had written on her in her blog. It is actually sums up her journey to Kailash. I just want to share it with you all. It says, the transformation from darkness to light takes no time. All you need is the willingness, and darkness cannot resist light. It's from book Must by Mohanji. If you have not read it, please take a look at it. So our from darkness to light means our ignorance, our not knowing what life is about. For her, she knew she might not have known what her darkness was, but she knew something was not right, and she took that leap of faith uh, to something that was unknown, and she was rewarded with something magical out of it. And she's a living, courageous entity of that Kailash experience that we listened to. And I hope more of these stories will inspire you to join this pilgrimage with Mohanji, because it's one of a kind with the living master. And even though he's there with you in physical presence or not, he empowers you. Each step is grace, like Ivana mentioned, and many of the stories you will hear thereafter. So on this note, we say thank you for joining us, and do come back to other episodes on this channel. And thank you, Ivana, for giving us your time and sharing your story. Anything else you want to add? And we can say thank you to everybody.
No, I think we can say thank you.
Okay, thank you,
And thank you,
everybody.
Vani, for hosting this.
Okay. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you.
Namah Shivaya.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.